Hello, my lovely students. So, all my CBSE 9th class students, hope you all are doing fine. Your Anubha ma'am is welcoming you to the session, and your most awaited chapter is again here, that structure of atom. I know that you are telling me again and again, ma'am, when structure of atom is going to happen. It's there in front of you, and that is session number 1, which is very much important, not right now for this session, but for upcoming classes also, like 11th class. So stay tuned, watch all the videos, support this channel equally, and you'll get all the videos in so much fun way, and you'll learn amazing things here, and you'll prepare better for your exams also. And 90 plus is like nothing for you if you keep on following and see and follow all the direction that your teachers are giving you here. All right, students. So let's begin this journey with your Anubha ma'am right away. Stay positive, keep the Josh high, stay till the end. Going to be very important. All right, students. But before that, I really want to ask, there must be so many students who are like, ma'am, we are facing so much issues, but how the issues are going to get resolved at this platform? What exactly and how exactly is that possible? So students, if you're also facing problems that your doubts are not getting solved, your doubts can get solved instantly at our platform with the help of master teachers, chemistry experts called as class teachers. They'll be totally dedicated so that whenever you face problem, you can tell us and the doubts will be immediately solved. And you will get notes of each and every session so that your time, 70 to 80% time, will not get wasted in making notes, and you can download, you can make some short notes that will help you also, and test in every 15 days, assignments after every session, so that even if the question will come in a twisted language, you will be able to understand because you have had done enough practice, and it will be easy for you. Competitive exams preparation side by side, if you want to prepare for JSTSC, NTSC, Olympiad, JEE, NEET, everything is possible, students, with the choice of your own schedule. It's like you are the master. You are going to decide at what time you're free, and you can take the session, so that the problem of this, that ma'am, I'm too much occupied and whenever I got time, I can't find the session, so that problem won't be there. And the choice of language among Hindi and English can be sorted, because we have batches in preference to the language English and English. So you can choose properly and you'll be totally benefited out of the same. So all the problems will be solved with so much of bonuses that you can attend unlimited live classes. Suppose you're having your test after 2-3 days and you're like, oh, I really need to revise atoms and molecules. You can see all the videos of atoms, molecules, of other chapters, live classes also, like 7 to 8. If you think that these sessions are important to you, that will come to your dashboard. Micro courses, chapter-based courses, you'll automatically can enroll in the same. Crash courses also, performance reports in every session, so that you will be able to know that how well you are doing. Okay, students, and personalized attention of your teachers, your class teachers, so that no doubt will remain unsolved, and you will get every session in a fun quiz and very amazing animation way, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. And for that, what you all have to do, Vedantu 19 channel has pinned a message with the link. You have to copy the link, you have to click on the link, and the page will appear to you. You have to select your grade over here, 9th class. Select your target, CBSE. Even state board students can also choose CBSE. The curriculum is in according to NCERT. Get your subscription and choose your subscription among 3 type of models that we have as 1 month, 3 months and 6 months. What you want to choose, it's totally up to you, because all the courses are equally good. It's just the duration of time and the discount that you are going to get. For 1 month, the course was for 2699 after discount of Vedantu due to the situation, and nowadays you're getting 20% discount and just have to pay 2159 rupees for 3 months in 6999 after discount of the code AGEPRO, and that will give you 31% discount on MRP, and you just have to pay 1866 rupees per month. To be very honest, that was a fair deal, because discount is more. And for 3 months, if you'll give, you'll be able to see some crash courses, so many chapters that you'll be able to revise. So that much duration is like middle, not too much, not too less. For six months, the discount is again 43% on MRP. If you'll apply the code AGEPRO, you just have to pay 1533 rupees per month. So you can see that's just the monetary benefit that you're going to get. So do not miss it, do not miss the code, and do not forget to click on the link and be a part of Vedantu family and say, yeah, I'm a proud Vedan, because Vedantu has proved it again and again how that's best among all online classes. Because look at the result of JEE Advanced, the toughest exam of India, and how beautiful a result was there. And Vedantu is able to bag so many ranks: 5 in top 500, 11 in top 1000, 44 in top 2000, 121 in top 5000, 253 in top 10,000. And these are all the amazing students and their faces. Your name in future can also come here. Stay motivated, stay tuned, and that's totally possible, students. Totally possible. All right. So now let's start the session, because you got to know all the information is kind of important. Yeah, because you should know whenever some new students come here, they should be properly guided. Yeah. So in this session, we are going to explore about the discovery of subatomic particles. I'll clear that point also. What are subatomic particles? So students, shall we start? Give me a quick thumbs up. Yeah, thumbs up in the comment section, thumbs up on the video, and call your friends, because this is also very much important chapter. And always hit the like button so that you'll totally updated with all the number of sessions that are about to come. All right. Yeah, so let's start right away and let's talk about atoms and molecules. Now, that we did in the last session. So I just want to tell you that atoms and molecules are the fundamental building block of matter, and we did talk about the same, that all the matters are made up of atoms and molecules. They repeat itself and we get different type of matter. And when the existence of different kind of matter is possible due to different atom constituting them. Water is having a different constitution of atom. If I talk about salt, different type of atoms are there, right? Your books, cellulose, different type of atoms are there. So different matters are possible because the arrangement of different atoms is totally different in all the type of atoms, all the type of matter. Now the question is, there must be so many questions. How is that possible that there will be no question? Yeah. Question that came to our mind is question number 1. What makes the atom of an element different from the atom of other element? Why I say carbon is different, oxygen is different, and sodium is also very much different. What exactly make an atom different from each other? And the question is, are atoms really indivisible? Just said by Dalton and other scientists that atom is indivisible particle that's there in your matter. But is there something that's still there in the atom? Some subatomic particles. Subatomic means that's smaller than your atom and residing in your atom. Is that possible? And students, I'll tell you that there were some indications, there was some experiment that proved us that yes, atom is carrying something that is having charged particles. Okay, atom is having some charged particle inside it, and that was due to some electricity that was producing in between different kind of a matter. See, static electricity that was producing when we talk about different kind of matter striking to each other, and how that, let's discuss some of the examples, some of the activity in front of you, that yes, charged particles are there inside the matter. And the activity number 1 is, you must be having a comb, right? Whenever you're having dry hair, the day that you wash your hair, yeah, then try to comb your hair, and after combing, just put it near the pieces of paper. Just let's do it. I just combed my hair and I put it near the pieces of paper. Just see what you are observing. Those pieces of papers are attracted towards your comb. What could be the reason, right? Whenever you rub your hair with the comb, some charged particle, your comb became charged with the particle, and whenever you took it near the paper, those charged particle existing between the two is kind of attracting each other. That's kind of proving due to some attraction there might be some charged particle, because we know that opposite charge attract each other. There was one more activity where what did we do? We take a glass rod with the silk cloth and bring the rod near the inflated balloon. So we rub a glass rod with a silk cloth and then took it near a inflated balloon. And what exactly was happening when we see that? There are so many things that we observe, that if you take inflated balloon, if you take other pieces of paper also, that is showing some kind of a rise. Okay, that's kind of showing some kind of attraction. So what exactly is the reason behind it? The conclusion is that when we rub these different kind of a substances, they become charged. They are carrying some kind of a charge, and then charged particle, opposite charge, can attract each other. That was a very first breakthrough that was giving us an idea that yeah, atom is having something inside it that is carrying some charge. Okay, so now the point is, where does this charge come from? How these charged particles are there inside the atom, where exactly it is. That means knowing about the structure of atom, what is there inside the atom. So let's discuss the same. Now we got to know atom is no more indivisible. Now atom is divisible and carrying some charged particle inside it, and different scientists came and proved it for us also. Yeah, this is different. Let's talk about the very first particle that we must know that's there inside the atom, our electron. And who discovered electron, students? That's discovered by J.J. Thomson. Yeah, J.J. Thomson in 1897. He did an experiment called as cathode ray tube experiment, discharge tube experiment also, that proved to us that there is some particle, negatively charged particle inside your atom. I'll prove it to you. Please just understand whatever I'm saying. That's not part of your syllabus. That won't ask you to write all the things that I'm going to tell you, but very much important for you to know that. Okay. So students, what exactly this that you are seeing here? That's a discharge tube. That's a tube made with a good quality of glass, and the end of the tube is, you can see that negative and positive. What exactly this? We have taken a battery. Battery is having a negative terminal and positive terminal. So the negative terminal of the battery we connected with the metal and just sealed it on one side of the discharge tube. Positive terminal, we take a metal and rub it over there, wrap it over there, and sealed it inside the discharge tube other end. So I got two different end of the battery attached to the discharge tube. So what exactly these metal rods are, students? One metal rod is called as cathode, the one that's connected to negative terminal of the battery. The one that is connected to positive terminal of the battery, the metal rod is called as anode. You must be like, ma'am, why these metal rods are having this kind of a name? So students, do remember that I'm telling you one analogy to make it easy. Cathode attract cation. And I told you in atoms and molecules, cation is positively charged particle. Cat has pos, means cation is positive. So as cathode is attracting positive, that must be negative, right? Because opposite attracts. So cathode is the negative terminal of the battery. Cathode is that metal rod that's connected to the negative terminal of battery, because that attract positive, so it must be negative. On the other hand, if I look at anode, again the same thing. Anode attract anions, anion connection. And anion is negatively charged. You can remember with a name, Annie. Anion is negative. Okay. So if anode is attracting negative charge, that must be positive, opposite attract. So anode is that metal rod that's connected to the positive terminal of the battery. What do we get to know till now? We took a discharge tube. At the opposite end, we sealed with our cathode. We sealed it with our cathode and anode. Negative and positive terminal of the battery is attached to it. Why we are doing it? So that whatever we are taking inside the discharge tube, we can pass electricity out of the same. So students, what's there inside the discharge tube? You can take any gas. helium, argon. Generally, we take noble gases, but you can take hydrogen also, other gases also. So suppose I have taken hydrogen gas here, okay? And even if you're not taking anything, you know that air will be there, that's also fine. I have taken a special gas, hydrogen gas here. No like special reason, hydrogen I have taken. Now the thing is, I have to maintain two conditions here. Condition number one, low pressure. I hope you all know that if I talk about my pressure, atmospheric pressure, that is 1 atm, not that atm that will give you money. 1 atm. Atm is unit of pressure, atmospheric pressure that we observe on sea level. So the atmosphere is applying 1 atmospheric pressure on the sea and on the same way. But when I do this experiment on 1 atmospheric, nothing will observe. What we have to do, whatever gas we have to take, we need that some ions will start coming out of the same, so that we'll observe those ions. We can observe some charged particles are there inside the gases, there inside the matter. So any gas will ionize, will convert to positive and negative ions when you apply low pressure to it. Low pressure means I'm telling to gas, just move away, just live your life, just be free. Okay, lower the pressure, no pressure at all. So lower the pressure means the particle of gas will be more and more free and will strike over each other. And whenever they collide, remember the previous case, some charge can develop over the same. So we will maintain low pressure. Okay, and for that we have taken vacuum pump here. Okay, 1 upon 1000 you can say. Earlier 1 upon 1000 times ATM we are taking. The second thing that we need to do is applying high electricity, high voltage. Yeah, for that we have already connected it to the battery of high voltage. Okay, so two things we are doing. We have maintained the pressure with the help of vacuum pump inside. That's 1 upon 1000 times of an atmospheric, very low. And then we apply a very high voltage, very high electricity out of the same. When electricity is passed and low pressure is maintained, the particles are striking over each other, and then they are generating, they are removing some negatively charged particle out of the same. Now you're like, ma'am, how do we know that negative charge particle is coming out of the gases? Because we have taken gases here. So I'll tell you right away, because to prove that, what Thomson did, negative will go towards positive. I said these gases are releasing some negative charge particle. Where negative will go? Towards positive, opposite attract. Anode is my positive terminal. These negative charge particle from this cathode side, why I'm saying cathode side? Cathode is negative. So it looks like some negative charge particle is coming from cathode side, as cathode is negative, and going towards anode because anode is positive. How did Thomson said that? Thomson, place a zinc sulfide screen on the anode side. Zinc sulfide coating he put. And why zinc sulfide coating? That's a shiny zinc sulfide coating. So whenever any particles strike over it, it will shine, it will glow. So that's the reason we observed a glow on the anode side. That proved that there must be some negative particle might be coming from cathode, as cathode is negative. Coming towards anode, we see the glow towards anode. As coming towards anode, which is positive, those particles must be negative. That was the whole experiment that gave us an idea that your atom is carrying some particle which is negatively charged. Later on that took the name as electron, and that is also called as cathode ray. Earlier it was named as cathode ray, something that's coming from cathode. Okay, hope you got it. That the breakthrough of this is some. And why electron, why negative? Because you already know from atoms and molecules that electrons are something that's rotating in the orbit and are loosely bounded and can be lost. So in the atom, whenever you pass electricity, whenever you let them, collide with each other, electrons will start coming out of the same. And where electron will go? Towards positive terminal, that's your anode. So that's what we observe. That proves that there is some negative charge particle. So who identified it? J.J. Thomson. What is the charge? Negative charge. They are also called as cathode rays, as it seemed like they are coming from cathode, as cathode was negative terminal. And how we represent it? Electron for E minus 1, as every electron is carrying a charge of minus 1. That's what we say in general, like a relative charge of minus 1. The minimum charge we have considered as minus 1. All right. So electron part is pretty much clear. Yeah, too much to see that, but that's absolutely true. That's how electron got discovered, and you just see the normal point out of the same. And when I talk about proton, students, you're like, no, my atom was stable, my atom was neutral, only like it doesn't carry any charge. When I say negative part is coming, there must be some positive also, so that positive negative cancel each other and my atom is neutral. So Goldstein was thinking about the same. Goldstein, Eugen Goldstein was thinking about the same. That's our handsome scientist, Goldstein. And he's like, yeah, there must be some positive charge particle also. And he proved it with the experiment, and that is called as canal ray experiment. Previous one, cathode ray experiment. This is canal ray experiment. And what that experiment is, it's like telling you the same kind of experiment he chose, but he just made a small change in the experiment to prove that positive charge particles are also there in the atom. The only thing that he changed, he took your cathode this time as perforated. Perforated means having small holes inside it. See, same experiment, vacuum pump, negative and positive charge of battery, cathode, negative terminal of battery, anode, positive terminal of battery connected to battery, okay? And then we pass high electricity, high voltage, and same thing, that is low temperature also. The only difference, cathode is perforated. The reason is what, students? In the previous experiment, they got discovery of electron negative moving towards anode, but on the same hand, if electron is loose out of the atom, negative charge is gone, the atom must carry positive charge now. Electron is gone, negative is gone. The same amount of positive charge is also there on the same. So that must be positive. So positive must travel towards negative terminal of this battery, that negative rod of metal also, right? So these positive should move towards cathode, which is negative, positive, negative. But when we experimented that, we didn't get it. We did one thing also. Now we put zinc sulfide on this side also, cathode side, but we didn't see any glow. The reason is those proton particles, those positive charge particles, after losing your negatively charged electron, the leftover positive charge particle is quite heavy, and they can't pass through the cathode and can show any kind of a shine and glow on the zinc sulfide screen. So the only breakthrough, the only point he considered, he made the cathode perforated, he made holes in the cathode, because electrons are very tiny, negligible mass can pass over it, but proton can't do the same. So whenever from any atom, suppose I'm talking about hydrogen, as we have taken hydrogen gas, electron is lost. Now hydrogen became positive. When it start traveling toward negative charge, that's cathode, positive, negative. It was earlier not passing, but as there are holes, these particles are passing over the same, striking to zinc sulfide screen. Whenever charged particle is striking to the zinc sulfide screen, there is some shine, there is some scintillation, and that what we observe, and giving us this idea that yes, positive charge particle is also there in the atom. And this experiment is also called as anode ray experiment. Why? As this particle are positively charged particles, they thought that something might be coming from anode side, as anode is positive. So also called as anode ray experiment. Please remember it. We also call it anode ray. Why anode ray? Because it seems like it's coming from anode, as it's positive charge, and anode is also positive charge. The same way electron was considered as cathode ray. Canal ray also, the reason is when we observe the motion of these positive charge, it looks like a canal, a river, a stream. So that as if they are moving the same way, these positive charge particles are moving towards zinc sulfide screen. So canal rays, moving like canal, and also called as proton, definitely. Yeah. So these canal rays are nothing but positively charged radiations that did prove us that there is one more subatomic particle, that's your proton. So who discovered it? E. Goldstein, do remember it. And when I talk about the charge on the proton, that same that of electron, it's just the opposite charge. Proton, positive charge, and electron, negative charge, but same magnitude of charge. Whatever will be the total positive, but that will be the total negative. And when I compare the mass of proton and electron we say negligible mass, because the mass of proton is almost 2000 times the mass of electron. 2000 times the mass of electron, that's quite huge. But when I talk about the exact data, NCERT said this, but some of books also says 1837 times. Means the mass of protons is this time more than the electron. That's why we say that electron's mass is negligible. Okay, and that is represented as P positive, P for proton symbol with one positive charge. Okay, students. So when I compare the properties of electron and proton in terms of mass and charge, I hope you got it. The mass of proton is taken as 1 unit and charge as +1. So mass 1 unit, unified mass. And when I talk about charge, charge is also +1. It's like the relative charge and relative mass, not like the fixed, that we have considered it as smallest, so we took it as a unity. Okay, so proton 1 positive, mass 1 unit. Mass of electron, again, mass is negligible, we don't consider it, and relative mass I'm talking about. And when I talk about the charge, that's -1. Same amount, but only the difference in magnitude, positive and negative. And when I talk about where exactly they are present inside the atom, protons were in the interior of the atom, something like in between of the atom, and electrons are something that is outside part of the atom and just rotating. It's like that could be peeled off, but not proton. Proton deep seated in the nucleus. Nucleus discovery we'll talk about later. Deep inside the atom at the center, and electrons are just outside it and circulating in a path. Okay, so this is about electron and proton. I hope you got it, that atom is no more indivisible. Now the thing is, the part is not over yet. Why the discovery of neutron took place, why James Chadwick in 1932 had to discover neutron? Because we see the total positive charge and the total negative charge due to proton and electron is same. Atom became neutral. So why neutron? Why we needed neutron, students? We'll talk about that. Neutron is something having no charge. Neutron comes from that neutral only. No charge and a mass nearly equal to that of proton. Now are you getting the reason? So students, scientists were observing, first of all, carbon. It's like carbon everywhere. So they are observing carbon, and what did they observe? For mass of carbon, when they see, they thought carbon had 6 proton and 6 electron, because total positive, total negative equal, atom is neutral. Electron's mass is negligible, but the mass of every proton is 1 unified mass. For 6 proton, there must be total 6 unit mass, and for electron it's 0. So they thought that the mass of carbon must be 6 unit. Okay, but when the mass of carbon gets calculated, you also know that what do we study? That the mass of carbon is, that's what we write, C12. 12 units. So how come there is a difference of mass of 6 unit? Yeah, nucleus. This difference of 6 unit mass is something that scientists were thinking. Electrons negligible mass, protons 6 unit in total. So the difference of 6 unit is rise in that point that there must be some more subatomic particle inside your atom that's not carrying any charge, because charge is already balanced, but having almost equal mass, that to your proton, and that was true. Your neutron is having no charge, so atom is still neutral and having a mass equal, almost equal to your proton. So that's why 6 neutron must be there. That's why 6 proton, 6 unit, 6 neutron, 6 unit. in total 12 unit charge of your carbon. That's what you study. Yeah, that's the use of that neutron. And do remember it, every nucleus of the atom carrying neutron except hydrogen. Hydrogen's mass, you already know that it's 1 unit, and that's due to one proton present in the hydrogen. Hydrogen is carrying no neutron at all. All right? Okay. So, and how we represent neutron? N and then this 0. Neutral, and that's why 0 charge. Okay? So, I hope you got this point, that the mass of atom is therefore given by sum of proton as well as neutron. How you will calculate mass of atom? I'm talking about the mass number, the number that is totally responsible for the mass of atom. That's number of protons plus number of neutrons. Okay, that's what the mass is calculated in case of carbon. And see, that's 6 protons, 6 neutron. That's how we got the mass of carbon as 12U, 12 unified mass, 12 unit. And that was the funda to have the discovery of electron, proton and neutron. That's what is there inside your atom. So your atom is no more divisible. So your atom is no more indivisible. All right, students. Now the thing is not over yet. The thing is how these electron, proton and neutron is present inside the atom, and different scientists give different model of atom. That we'll definitely consider next time. But what is a must, student, that you do your homework and do let me know that yes, you got it. Name the 3 subatomic particles of an atom. We discovered that if an atom contains 1 electron and 1 proton, will it carry any charge or not? Very easy question. So do not forget the homework time and keep following our channel. Keep making it as a big hit also. So this is done. We'll talk about atomic models for sure, students. And please do not forget to select your grade after pinning the link given in the description box, selecting your grade, and after selecting, take your subscription wisely and choose among 1 month, 3 months and 6 months, whichever suits you. 1 month you can save 20% extra on MRP if you'll apply the coupon code AGEPRO, 31% off on MRP if you'll apply the same code. For 3 months you just have to pay $18.66, and for 6 months you can save 43% on MRP. That's extra apart from Vedantu discount. Only you will get after applying AGEPRO code. So do not miss this opportunity. Choose your course wisely. And that's definitely a student-centric platform. So please do it. Yeah, students, and you can reach out to me. This is my email ID. Hope you like the video. Do let me know in the comment section. Do submit your homework and keep loving and supporting by hitting the like button, sharing it to your friends, and definitely subscribing to the channel if you haven't done it yet. Keep following. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.